right, further investigations. Now you might have seen the deep state type of idea in media now. It's quite popular now, this idea about a deep state. Seeing within state within a state, shadow government and all this. Jai Jeffwa. Now basically is occurred in this deep state. That is basically when you have Indian names like Kuldeep and all type of things, and Jagdeep and Deepak, Deepak. And basically the code is right. The deep part means lamp or light. There are a lot of names, the deep with a deep in it. Kahara. It's deep, meaning lamp. From Sanskrit, deepa, translated light of the family. Lamp. So basically, lamp state is like Masonic type idea again. But obviously, you have the lamp in all the religions. Including the Muslim Eid, and of course the Judaism. It's basically it's like a deep state. You're talking about a lamp state. You're talking about covering the land with darkness type idea and just having a bit of light for those who are like in the nur or in the special view, Basically deep state, enlightened type, the enlightened ones or the Illuminati is the same type of concept as that. Obviously you have a conspiracy idea about the Illuminati and all that. And a lamp. So it's basically covering the sort of the majority with darkness. And just having a little bit of lamplight for the so-called sort of initiated ones or enlightened ones or something like that. And this part is also interesting. When the deep become Gahara, you can describe a deep cut. So you have this basically this hexen, right, about deep cut barracks. But it was supposed to be all these these deaths in the deep cut barracks, right? Now what this was probably about was trying to dissuade native Britons from joining the army, right? It was quite a big hexen spell at the time. Basically probably what that was about was just dissuading, using psychological methods and have to dissuade native Britons from joining the army, right? So obviously the majority army ones now become the immigrant type, That's probably what they were always after for certain pertaining to the the way the things are going, right? That's what that would have been about, Just a dissuasion type of thing. Of course, you're talking about the deep cut, right? You're talking about this type of stuff. Inflicting a deep cut. Now where the idea of a deep cut also has a sexual meaning, right? Basically gash, right, refers to a long deep cut. And basically that Gahara also become like gash. Now what a gash is in a slang description. Becomes like a woman's private parts type idea. Now again, right, when you have deep, right, you've got the deep state, you've got the paid, right? The just turn around, of course, you got a paid. And basically you have a paid idea, with the hex and spells again, right? You've got a paid estate idea, right? That all these the top people are paid right? The top society people, high society people are paid right? This ties in with that, right? You got the paid estate, right? Basically again, right, this is to what do you call it, disparage people, keep people down, get people scared about everything that's going on, in the society and all that. Well, of course, mass immigration, the foreigners are basically taking on. Now we're going back to the education aspect, right, and the subject of dumbing down. As you see, grammar schools were closed down and all abolished or merged with secondary moderns. Right? So you have the idea of a modern world. Right? So basically a modern times. Right? It's about industrial stuff and all that, character struggles to survive in a modern industrialized world, modern times. Right? So idea of modern and post-modern and all this, right? Modern, basically, modern is again a code, right? So basically, if you look at this code, right, Charles Dickens was basically, all these books and stories was to do with the industrial world and coming to terms with the industrial world and all this stuff. Basically, this Dombey and Son, we mean dummy and son. Right? So what this is basically about is a code word to put in there. There's a dummy, right? Dummy and son, same as Sonic, so it's like one generation follows the next generation. Of dumbing down. Right? This is supposedly an unfinished work by Charles Dickens. Right? But all the Dickens stuff was about the post-industrial world and the pre-industrial and all this, and the modernistic era coming about and all this, right? If you recall some of his works, it was about seeing how bad the Victorian era was and how the conditions in the workhouse, and they used to send kids up sweet chimneys. That's basically got to be hex. To demonise past time to get people to more accept these what are called modern times. So you see Dickens addressed things like poverty, class disparity and social reform. Very just like the day reform idea is about, right? The Reformation and all that. And modern becomes dumber, right? Dumber. It's totally coded into that. Dumber. So when you have a modern society, it's like a dumber society. Like the old society would have been a lot more intelligent. Say for example how it went from Strauss doing the Viennese waltz to Stormzy or Tiny Temper or something, So it's basically in that space of about 200 years they've dumbed down the society into what it is today, Like for example, people used to wear like woolen suits or tweed suits, and ties and that. They're gone about in the society now to wear like polythene body warmers or something, Like, people are literally walking around wearing what people would traditionally used to put the rubbish in a polythene bin liner and put the rubbish in, and people are wearing it now because it's got some little Chinese sign on the corner or something. See what I mean? All dumbed down. So modern equals dumb. It's like this, with dumb and dumber. So again, it's like Dombey and Son. It's like successive generations. First you're dumb, then you're dumber. Right? And this was always their plot. Their plot and plan was to dumb the people down, the normal general public. Right? To dumb them down. And then of course things like this were taking a piss. Like you see, like 200 years ago, right, people would have had a bookshelf full of books. Right? Now of course, if most people have a bookshelf, it's full of videos or DVDs or something like that. You see what I mean? So again, that's Dumb and Dumber. It's the place is getting dumber and dumber as it goes along, and this is basically purposeful by these people who's supposedly in charge of that, right? As you can see here, referring to technological transformations, they're putting in the 6 code. Of course, technological stuff is all around us now, with the mobile smartphones and all this type of thing. But basically, all this stuff is unneeded. It's pretty much unneeded. I mean, there's some things that come about from it, which is fairly good and all that, but it's basically unneeded. Beyond a certain point, like this stuff was basically, who needed a smartphone? You had a telephone thing, all that. You know what I mean? You had a mobile phone. I mean, you didn't need a smart one or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just like, but this is the modern era, so it's masquerades, right, as becoming a lot better, and in actual fact, it's getting dumber. People are getting dumber. Again, this has got to be based off the same code. Dobby the house elf. So you've got this house elf who was a servant of the like a rich family. The oppressive, servile house elf of the oppressive Malfoy family. So the basic code main idea of this become the little man, the little normal person, the public, the commoner. Obviously, daft looking ugly little thing in that, and this become the metaphor for that commoner person serving them in their world type of thing. Just know the word Dobrin become good in Russian. The Dobrin Polytechnic College in Nigeria. Basically, Dumb and Dumber is a deliberate oversimplification of intellectual content in education, literature, cinema, news, and culture. And obviously, this is absolutely what's going on. This is usually 33, of course. Right? So this is essentially what's been going on over the last couple of 100 years, and they were aware of it type of thing. From that time, the 1800s. In actual fact, the 1800s was a higher intellectual. The peoples were cleverer, The civilization was better. Of course, they will tell you everything and see it differently. See, like people didn't even survive past like 36 years old or whatever, something like that. But it's not true. See what I mean? So you can see basically what's going on. Right? Of course, they had this very famous, Walt Disney picture of Dumbo the elephant, right, which was released in 1941. This was obviously a big movie across the Western world, right? But basically, there's no elephants in the Western world, right? And we know the significance of elephant in Indian culture and their religious stuff. Basically, a very important creature in the Indian religion. Remover of obstacles, right? So maybe we're viewing the Western man as an obstacle that be removed. Disney is banging with India, right? It's a big business in India. Billionaire Mukesh Ambani, Star India Private Limited. So to Disney. It's basically something to do with Indian money.